Well, hello and welcome to episode 30 of our front yard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. It is August 30th, 2024, and our last episode of August. We're getting close to the end of summer. We have about 3 weeks left. We're heading into the Labor Day weekend now, and it's a beautiful Friday morning. Just like last week, clear blue sky. Couldn't really be any bluer. And it's about low 80 degrees, or low 80s right now. It's headed for about 90 degrees. And then next week we're supposed to get some rain and a cold front, but for today it's still very summery here. And so we're going to show off the flowers here, starting with our mailbox as usual. Now I'm out here at about 11 o'clock. This is a little later than we've done the last couple of times. And actually I'm going to start with the zinnias here and showing off some of the various colors that we have. A lot of pinks, a real preponderance of pink. We had a lot of other colors earlier in the year. We have a few reds and oranges, a couple of yellows here and there, but more pink than anything else. And as I have tended to say a lot of times, we have a number of different shapes of flowers, even on the same plants, which is really cool about these. They give us quite a variety of color and appearance. We have probably about, 100 zinnia plants here in this front bed, and they've been doing extremely well. We've had them in for a number of years now, and they've really brought us a tremendous amount of color in the midsummer after all of our spring flowers are finished up. Also in this bed are the morning glories. They, as their name would suggest, they tend to do best in the morning. We get to this time of the day, once the sun's been beating down on them for an hour or two, they start to shrivel up a bit. We still have a few that are looking really good, but most of them are gone. But these will continue to bloom probably until we get the first frost in the next month and a half, 2 months. And so all the brown leaves here on our mailbox are from clematis. This is a flowering vine that dies off typically in the hotter weather, but it gave us some beautiful purple flowers in the spring. If you were watching any of our videos back then, you may have seen those. Again, more zinnias over here, and then the other prominent flower in this bed is the vinca, which we have two groups. This group here we bought at Walmart, and they're much larger. These came up from last year, just seeds, and they were doing better last year, but they're still giving us a lot of color, so they're a lot of fun to have around. Also have some phlox still blooming, kind of buried down there. You have a hard time seeing them. It's behind all the zinnias, but they are also there. Got a little butterfly flying around. They love zinnias, and there's a good view right there. Hi there, little butterfly. And I'll be honest with you, that could be a moth for all I know. I know there is a technical difference, but I'm not sure. I'm not an insect expert, but I know a pretty bug when I see one. All right, we'll move on up towards the house here. Honestly, the front yard is not a whole lot different than it was last week. So I'll probably do this video a little bit more quickly than last time. We've got a lot of vinca here, which are blooming. These all came up from seed, and most of them are white. We have a few pink mixed in, a few of the light purple color, and then behind those, really the only other plant in this bed right now is the petite knockout rose. It's been kind of languishing in the hot sun for a good bit of the midsummer, but there are some buds on it, and it'll continue to give us a little bit of color yet before summer's over. As we come up here, we have more of the same zinnias and vinca primarily. We do have some marigolds still hanging in there. We think, we're not experts on this either, but we think that there's some sort of parasite in the marigolds. They're kind of withering compared to their cousins out in our backyard, which are still doing really well. We already had some in this area that we had to take out because they were dead. And then over here, our only group of tomatoes in the front. They're growing very slowly, but we do have some tomatoes growing, and some down here, these sort of oblong grape-shaped tomatoes. So eventually those will ripen and be good for picking. We picked a few in the backyard last week on our show. Those are the first ones of the season, actually. Here, we have some dianthus still hanging in there. Not a lot left. This is primarily a spring flower, but it continues to put out some blooms through the rest of the year. We've got a couple of coreopsis that just started blooming. Again, a spring flower, but it's given us a little bit of additional color here. Our Russian sage with the delicate purple flowers still hanging in there. Probably will continue to bloom into October. And then behind all of this, the black-eyed Susans. Those have all been seeded from a big patch in the back. They do tend to spread, and so we've tried to corral them back with some little fencing, but they've given us a nice yellow backdrop when everything else in the background is pretty much done for the year. Even our Old Faithful climbing rose here is almost done. Almost every week we have some flowers, and we do have a few here that are blooming, a couple over there, but by and large the plant, I think, is kind of nearing the end of its season-long run. Over here, more zinnias, of course. We have one right here that has quite a few layers, about 6 or 7 layers, as opposed to the more typical ones that only have 1 or 2 layers of petals. And a nice mix of colors. You have kind of this dark orange. We don't get a lot of those. The dark pink, the bright pink, mustard yellow. And then we have some that are more of an orange color, blood red. We have occasional ones that are white or very pale yellow, like this one. And so it's quite a palette of color with those. Here we have the hydrangeas, a spring flower, of course, a flowering bush that still has some color on it, but not the bright, vibrant color that we had back in the spring. And these will just continue to slowly fade until they turn brown, probably in another month or so. Our little citrus grove here on the front porch. Nothing really has changed here. Our lemon tree, orange tree, they've both given us a lot of growth. If you can see, the orange tree really took off with this one shoot going straight up, and it's now about 8 or 9 feet tall. And then our smaller lemon trees down through here. I don't think we'll see much out of those the rest of this year, but hopefully next spring we'll get some blooms, even if they don't turn into fruit. Because we just have not had good success with that. We can at least get the fragrant blooms. They smell absolutely heavenly. Back in here, this is mostly a spring garden. Last week we had a few azaleas, azalea flowers, I should say. Those have finished up, although I do see some buds that are getting ready to pop, so we'll get a little bit more color here. Everything else, hostas, hydrangeas, viburnum, they're all spring flowers. This butterfly bush here, we started to cut some of this off this week, but we're going to cut it all the way back and let it kind of start over again. It's gotten too big for its britches, and it's put more of its energy into branches and leaves than flowers. And then our big knockout roses here, they really have not done as well as previous years. We've got a few flowers here. We did deadhead them, although fairly late in the spring, and they are a little bit in the shade as this crepe myrtle tree has continued to grow. It's now got the roses in the shade until afternoon, and that may be having an effect on this. We'll see. Crepe myrtle is just about finished now. If you look closely up there, you can see some of the bright pink flowers on it. Really kind of peaks from mid-July to mid-August. We'll still have a little bit of color for another couple of weeks, but by early September, it'll be pretty much finished up for the year. Got some more vinca over here in the oval bed, some salvia. I've always called these rock candy flowers. Still doing well. Primarily a spring plant, but it's come back for a second wind here in the late summer. And we've got some dahlias. This is about the best that we've seen on at any time with these dahlias here in the front yard. We usually get just a sporadic flower here and there, but these are doing really well. More zinnias. Again, kind of a bright orange color to go with the mustard yellow, and lots of vinca. And I pointed this flower out last week. Don't know what it is. I think it's in the kind of in the same family as spiderwort. It's a beautiful blue flower, but I don't know the name or the nature of it. But it's been doing very well there in that bed. More zinnias here. This big blood red one, kind of an unusual color for us. Bright pink. That's a little different color for us. And then this sort of orangish red is not a typical color that we see a lot in our garden. So I know my wife Jenny, who put all of these in from seed this year, got zinnia seeds from a number of different sources, and that's why we have so many different colors and shapes. And then of course we have our big knockout roses here, the light pink, the dark pink, and then the coral color back in here. The coral one's almost done for the year. And then through all those, we have a what appears to be a morning glory. I'm not sure how this, I don't know if this seeded in. We didn't plant it here, but hopefully that'll give us some color as well. Everything on the back side here is pretty much finished up. We had a lot of Asiatic lilies, and just a number of different, mostly wildflowers. We had Monarda or bee balm. Those are all long since finished up, all late summer, early spring flowers. We do have one bud here, so maybe next week we'll have a pink rose on that climbing vine. We'll see. But that's basically about it. Like I say, a little shorter video this week because there wasn't a whole lot new to show, and that may be the case for the next few weeks. Honestly, we don't get a lot of change this time of year. Most of our change from week to week happens in the springtime, but we're going to continue to do these videos until we get into late fall. Basically, once the first frost hits, everything kind of dies down very quickly, and then we're done with the videos until next spring. So we're going to do our backyard video next. In the meantime, hope it's sunny wherever you are, and happy gardening.